Yeah.
So, have you guys already downloaded ClickSense Desktop on your machine?
Yes. Well,
Yes.
some of us, yes. Not
Uh,
sure
Okay.
if all of us.
this Sharik, I will need to download. I have not yet downloaded.
Okay. So you will have to register yourself on the ClickSense Click site, and then
Mm-hmm.
log into it and then download the application. Because right now,
Sure.
as you saw, when I opened the application, it asks me for username and password, right? So that
Mm-hmm.
username password would be your username password that you use to log into ClickTech website.
Okay,
Click
got
website.
you. Thank you.
Yeah. So once you are in, we'll start with just navigation first, and then we'll actually start with the functions and different type of loads and everything, right?
Sure.
Just in case if you're not familiar with the ClickSense UI interface. So as soon as you open it, it will ask you if you want to create an application. If not, you can
Mm-hmm.
just close it and open any application which is pre-created for you. If you want to create an app, just click on create app, give a name to your app. So I'll say,
Could you define what is an application, Amit?
sorry, these applications are freely available to you. These are like sample applications.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
but
even
could
if
you
you
please
download,
define what is an application?
okay, so an application is a single .qvf file.
Okay.
Okay, and .qvf file is nothing but a file which will hold uh, three main parts of your application. One is the script, one is the data model and the data, and the third part is the UI.
Okay.
Okay, so uh, all these apps that you see here are like individual .qvf files.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, and uh, so right now I've just created a ClickSense training uh, QVF file, right? So once I click and open it,
Amit, I have something to ask you. So if
yeah,
you're good, then I can. Okay. So as I as I understand, application is nothing but a kind of container where we can have different kind of components in order to build the report in ClickSense.
yes, exactly. So an application is nothing but the end product that you are creating for the end user.
Okay.
Okay, and everything else is like around it, but QVF is the product that you are creating for the end user. So
Okay.
even if you remember this much, it would be easy for you to then understand what is a QVF or what you are going to create for the end user, right? So as I said, I created ClickSense training.qvf, right? So
Mm-hmm.
uh, so it's a single file that has been created, and it is stored as ClickSense training.qvf at this location, right?
Okay.
Now there are two things that you can do to get started. Uh, there is add data. So you can add data from a file, database, and data market. So when you say add data, it will guide you through different options that are available to load data into this QVF file. Otherwise, if you are an expert, already know how to write scripts and all that, you can just go to data load editor and start
Mm-hmm.
writing a script there, right? So that's one thing. On the right hand side, you can edit the name if you want of this QEF file. Even now, you can give a description to it, just for the understanding sake.
Okay.
Um, Under settings, you can just play around with some, images and all that thing, right? The way we have these images here, you can add those images by going to the setting option.
Amit, still I'm confused. Like add data, load editor. So in add data also we are adding the data either from file or the database, and then in load data as well we are loading from the file and the database. So what is the basic difference? I mean, just the writing the script to load in data loader editor or something else.
Yes, yes. So if you click on add data, right, let's do it, and then you will maybe
Yeah,
understand
sure.
better.
Yeah, that
So
would be
when I
great.
click on add data, it showed me that what all options are available to me to load data from, right? So ClickSense
Hmm.
can connect to all this type of data sources, right? Whereas if you would have gone to data load editor, it wouldn't have asked you all this, right? So uh, see, now it asked you what all sources you can connect, right? ODBC, OLDB, cloud, Oracle, Teradata, and all this, right? There is another
Mm-hmm.
option as file location. So it could be possible that there is some the source file may it be Excel or CSV or tab separated file, whatever, right? If it is stored locally on your computer or any other network drive, then you can go to my computer and access those files from there, right? And similarly, there is some data which is being provided by Click itself in the Click data market. Okay, for example, the currency exchange rates, the weather information, and all those kind of like which are like standard informations, which would be difficult for uh, for for an individual to collect that kind of data, right? That kind of data is already provided at Click data market. Okay, so
Okay.
uh, multiple options you have. One is these many sources, one is files from the local systems, and the third option is from the Click data market, right? Now, if I close this down and
Mm-hmm.
go to data load editor, it directly brought me here. Instead of giving me options that that was much easier for a new developer to understand. Okay, I have this data source, so let me click on this. So that interface, that add data interface kind of
Mm-hmm.
guides you that that these are the options available. Click here now, select the file or select the data source, like that. So it guides you. Whereas this data load editor is for pure developers, who already know how to do it. They don't need that uh, wizard kind of thing where they are
Correct.
guided through the multiple options of loading it. So that is the difference.
Okay. But
Okay.
both the options will be used for the same purpose.
Yeah, both the options are used
Right.
for same purpose. So the purpose of creating this ClickSense tool itself was that if that the end user can also create a visualization for himself, or
Okay.
for
Okay.
that matter an app for himself. So if he comes here, he'll be blank. Now what should I do, right? So for him,
Correct.
that option is more suitable. For a developer, this option is more suitable,
Okay.
right? Once you come to this option, this data load editor, you will see that on the left hand side you have this main here, right? So main is
Mm-hmm.
nothing but a tab. It's a tab that is available in which you are writing a script. So similarly, you can have multiple tabs here, right? Now I have a section here, section
Okay.
2, section 3. I can rename it to anything that I want to as well. But what will happen is that you see this order. At the top we have main. At the second we have section 2, section 3, right? When you will reload this application, the data would be loaded in the same order. So whatever script you have written in the main tab would be loaded first. Then the script that you have loaded in the written in the second tab would be loaded second, and so on,
Okay.
right?
So,
So remember that these are nothing but a way of dividing your script into multiple tabs. Because if you have if you have multiple tables to load data from, and if you have to write a long script, If you keep on writing on the same tab, then you have to keep going down, down, down to write the entire script, and then the maintenance of it becomes difficult, because if you have to make any change, you have to scroll down the entire script to find out that portion in which you have to make change, right? Instead,
Correct.
if you get a second tab saying that, okay, a particular type of data is loaded into this particular tab, then a different dimension is loaded into this particular tab, a different fact is loaded into this particular tab, then it becomes easier for you to identify the tab which has the script that you want to edit. Okay,
Correct.
that is the purpose of having these tabs over here. You can rename them, that's not an issue, as per
So,
the business.
Amit, I got a question. So, can a single tab have more than one load script?
It can have, that's what I'm saying, right? It can have the entire script itself. That's not
Okay.
an issue. It can have entire script, but the only problem is if it's a very long script that you're going to write, then the maintenance of it will become difficult. It will
Okay.
become difficult for you to even trace what table you have loaded at what row number. So it's just that the entire script you are dividing into different portions, and those portions are nothing but these different tabs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's a basic thing. Apart from that, as soon as you go to data load editor, you will see these variables which are defined, right? These are nothing but the formats which are like predefined over here. Like for example, if there is um, uh, a numeric value, the thousand
Mm.
separator would be this comma. If it's a decimal, if the data that you are loading has a number which has decimal, the decimal separator would be a dot, right?
Okay.
Similarly, for money format is in rupees right now because I'm in India, so the money format is in rupees. If you will download it, the money format will be in dollar. Similarly,
Okay.
if you are showing some time, the time would have this format like that. The formats are defined uh, in advance for you. You can change it, or you can have a different format while you are loading the data, right? So that will go through when we actually start writing the script.
Okay.
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 So this portion, don't delete it. Let it be there always. It's not
Okay.
harmful. But even if you delete it, it will not make any difference to your script.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So that was about this. Apart from this, on the right hand side, you have this create new connection option. So the
Okay.
way in the add script, add data option, you had these
Mm-hmm.
different options to as the source, right? So that is what you can create here as well. So now
Manually.
you have
Okay.
manually, that whether you want to load data from a local computer, or you have a ODBC connection created or a OLEDB
Mm-hmm.
connection created, or different options are there. So you can create it here. Then if you want to,
Excuse me. Amit,
yeah,
on the loading script, can we have connections to many data sources on the same script?
yes, yeah, you can. But what will happen is that, for example, right? Let's say this is just an example.
Mm-hmm.
You are connecting to, let's say, Oracle first, okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then you load table 1, table 2,
Mm-hmm.
table 3, right? Now, if you want to bring data from a different source, then you have to write a connection string for, let's say, DB2, and then bring table uh, 4, table 5, like that. So so the thing is that if whatever data you want to bring from the first connection, you have to write it together. It cannot happen
Okay.
that you write this table 3 right from here to here,
Okay,
considering
got you.
that this
Okay.
table will load from this
Yeah.
Oracle. No.
Yes. I
Okay.
understood
So
that. Thank you.
as soon as you write the second connection string, the connection to Oracle system will get terminated, and a new connection will be set up, which will be to the DB2 system, and then whatever you script you have written below that connection string would be considered as the data that you are connecting to the DB2 system and trying to fetch data from there, right?
Okay.
So,
And after let's say after table 4, I need to load an Excel file. So we set up a connection to the location where the Excel file is, and then we can open again a connection to Oracle and so on.
No, so that's the thing. Only when you're connecting to a database, that is when you have to maintain this kind of format, that you have to maintain that you have to write your script after that connection string. But it doesn't go with the local files. Local files you can load anytime, anywhere. Okay, so if I'm loading data from local file, right, and after that again I write some table 5 which is coming from DB2 system, then it will be fine. But if you want to bring something from Oracle, then you have to again write this connection string here, over here.
Okay.
You will have to again write connection to Oracle system.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. So it's just that
we can do that. Okay.
Yeah. So at a time, you can, to any database, you can have only one connection. You can have only one live connection.
Okay.
But to local files, you can always load it. There is no connection that is made to the local system, right? So that's the thing.
Okay.
So Amit, I'm not sure if you are going to walk us through the creation of new connection in this session or the upcoming session. So I'm just curious to know.
No, I'll be doing that in upcoming sections because we have a lot of topics to cover. But before that, I just want to make sure that you understand how ClickSense works, right? That would be really helpful for you guys in later on.
Sure, yeah.
So okay. So we are done how the connections work. Then when you are done with writing all your script and everything, this is the option through which you can load data. You can make the script run. Okay. So once you do that, the script will run and it will load all the tables and everything. And you see this the navigation option?
Yeah.
That is where you can go to view your data model, load editor, and all that.
Okay.
Right.
So, Amit, may I ask one question?
Yeah.
So, as you said, like once we are finished with writing the load script, then we have to click on the load data button. So then, what kind of file will be created behind the scenes? I mean, is there any specific file extension or type which will be created once we click on load data button?
No. So the data will come into this QEF file itself.
Okay.
The entire data will be in the QEF itself. Now, whatever you will do everything will be inside a QEF file. Okay. Unless you are trying to create an external file, which is a QED file. I'll explain you what is a QED file as well. But as if now, consider that whatever you will do now will stay inside the QEF file only. There is no other formats, nothing.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. If you guys are a little bit aware of Tableau, as per my little bit information or knowledge about Tableau, once you load data, there is this QEF file kind of thing that is being created, and there is another data file that gets created automatically. That doesn't happen here. Everything is your QEF file. Okay. And if you go to app overview, okay, one thing that you should always do is that when you want to navigate through these options which are available here, click on these buttons, right, which are like open new tab, so that you can work on multiple options at the same time. If you directly click on the options, it will open this particular tab for you, like for example, Data Manager in the same window. It's like a browser
Okay.
that you work.
Okay.
Okay.
Um, so this is
Oh, I think
I
we
maybe
got
got dropped off.
disconnected again.
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, I keep dropping. I think I don't know if it's wrong with my internet connection or with there's something wrong with this go to meeting or tool.
No, that's fine.
But
That's fine.
anyways, yeah. And one thing to note is that when you open your ClickSense desktop, you will see there is this personal, right? So this personal work is something that you have done. Okay.
Okay.
Whatever application that you will create will be under personal and work. Okay.
Okay.
The reason being I'm
And
telling you that there is something called as ClickSense Hub. There you will have different streams and all that. So what is a stream and all that? That is a part of server course, but I will at least explain you in brief so that you understand what it means, right?
okay.
Yeah.
So
But
So the hub
if
is like the central repository.
sorry.
So the hub is like the central area or repository where all the
Yes,
applications are available.
exactly. And this personal that you see here, there would be more categories like this when you go to a ClickSense server hub, right? So this right now you see is a ClickSense desktop hub. So you over here you will see only applications that you have created, and that's why it says personal. But if you go on a ClickSense server hub, there you will see more options like this, which are called streams, right? So a stream
Streams.
for yeah, so stream is nothing but like you have different departments in your organization, right? Finance department, IT department, operations, facilities, and all that, right? So these are different streams in a way that these uh, they are different functions in your organizations which come together for your business to run, correct? Similarly, you create different streams over here that will divide your applications in a different categories. So let's say if you create a new stream here saying finance, so what you can do is you can publish all your apps that you are creating, the QEF files, into that finance app so that all the finance related applications are into one group,
okay.
right? So streams are nothing but groups.
Okay.
Okay.
Just a way of organizing the applications, right? In categories and
Exactly.
categorizing.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
So,
But that you have to worry about when you would go to the server level thing, because what will happen is that when you are creating these streams, right, you cannot create it for a person. You have to consider, you have to look at the bigger picture, that what kind of applications are getting developed in my organization. How can I group these applications into one thing? How can I do the grouping of these applications? And based on that, and based on your end user groups as well, you have to decide, okay, I'll create a finance stream and then publish app into that, so that all the end users who are looking for finance apps will go into the finance stream. All the end users who wants to look at the operations applications will go into operation streams. So that ways you have to define streams. You cannot have hundreds and thousands of streams. So you have to
okay.
make sure that you have limited streams, which are much more, which are logically correct. Okay.
Correct. Amit, whatever work you have done so far and you have saved it, so it's getting saved on your local machine or on the server.
No, it's getting saved on my local machine, right? So when I went here,
Okay.
if I go here and I say app overview, when I say app overview, it takes me to the same QVF file, and it will show me that first screen that we had seen where we can edit the name of the application, right? All this. So you see the file is saved here. see users, user
Okay.
document. So this is
Oh, and there's
uh,
the QBF
yeah,
extension.
yeah. And then when you have to publish it on the server, ClickView admin, sorry, ClickSense administrator will pull this file. You have to tell him that okay, or
Mm.
it could be possible that there is a central repository where ClickSense administrator had asked you to keep your application when they are ready to
Okay.
be published. So you will
Got
copy
you.
paste this file there, and he will pull it into the server and publish it into a stream.
Okay.
Uh, Amit, this is Mohit here.
Yeah,
Can we change the location of the files being saved?
as if now it's default location. Uh, I have to check if we can. Just hold on.
Because it would be much easier to group the files at the development level itself. Like you just said about the streams, we can group it at the development level. It would be better.
Yes, you should be able to save it at different location. Let me check that for you.
Is there any standard that Click provides? I mean, the standard uh, tree organization or folder organization to where the files should be saved?
Click doesn't provide anything as such, but they can only tell there are different ways, different organizations work, right? So uh, that's the reason uh, I am gonna tell you what other organizations have done, what works best for most of the people, and then you can choose it, which option you want to go ahead with. And what happens as you will grow with ClickSense development and all that, you will realize yourself that how better you can do it, right, in your organization.
Okay.
There is no standard as such that okay, it should be done in a particular way only.
Okay.
On top of that, I have one more question. Like, is there any standard naming convention we need to follow in order to name the QVF file or some other file when we are developing a report in ClickSense?
No, there is no standards as such. I mean,
Okay.
you have to just make sure that the names are logical from a business perspective, so that tomorrow when you are looking at your own application after a while, you will understand that you should be able to understand the name to the fields that you have given or the name to the file that you have given, right? That should
Okay.
be meaningful from a business perspective.
Okay.
And the reason I'm saying that is because when you start developing the data model, you will encounter that there are similar fields in different tables which have different meanings, right?
Hmm.
So when you have to rename them, you have to rename them in such a way that you understand that okay, this particular field in this particular table means this thing, and the same field in another table has a different meaning. So you have to write a business logical name. You have to give it a logical name, right? So that ways.
Okay.
And Amit, this desktop version versus the server version, is there a difference or is it the same thing?
No, this is yeah. So this desktop version is the installed version. Uh, this is what you will need to develop the application. Or are you asking something else? If I got
No,
your question.
is there a server version also, right? Like you can
Yes.
install this on a server and we could use that version to develop reports and publish it for an organization rather. This is only for a specific system, right? I'll be downloading it from in my personal laptop and I'll be developing reports and I'll be able to run this report. But there is a server version also wherein I'll push the final published to the server and users to be able to do that?
Yes. So when you go to the ClickSense Server Hub, right, from there also you can download the QVF file and do the development. In that case, you don't need the desktop. But there are some limitations that you will face when you are doing development through the hub. I'll tell you those limitations when we go ahead with the training.
Okay.
But yeah, you can do it because end of the day, as I said, right, the end user might, or not even end user, right, for that matter, any person, be it the developer or the end user, if you see there is an application which has already been published, but the UI is not something which he wants, or maybe he wants to design the UI in a different way. What he can do is whatever application which has been published, right, to a stream, he cannot change that application as such. He cannot make change to that application. What he will have to do is he will have to download that application into his own personal stream, right, and then edit it and load, push it back to the server with a different name.
Okay.
So that's how it works.
Okay.
Yes. Coming back to Mohit's question, I don't see an option right now, but I will check and I'll let you know. Because we use ClickSense, because ClickSense is like made from an end user perspective, in the sense from a self visualization perspective, right? So if you save your app, so what ClickSense will do in general is that it has already created this structure at the back end when you install this desktop tool. Like this is the place where you should keep your applications, the .qvf file. This is the place you can keep your extension objects. This is the place you can keep your data source. That way, it has organized it itself. But it should not stop you from saving the files at a location of your choice, right? I'll check that out and I'll let you know. Okay, Mohit?
Okay. Okay. Thank